Hey, we're on.
We are. Sorry, I was over here looking at the YouTube chats to make sure that I had all my things going. And I'm used to Heidi being here to keep our shit together.
Heidi will be here soon. She's just running behind. She had stuff to
No,
do today.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, I'm used to being able to be all casual and shit. But, you're clearly not gonna keep the trades on time. Like, can't give you anything.
What are you talking about? We're only like 30 seconds late. Speaking of being on time, happy Steve Bannon Perp Walk Day to those who celebrate.
Doesn't everybody celebrate? I mean, I don't even think the cult likes him. He's just such a sleazy piece of shit. Like, and anyone can see it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I get worried about calling people grifters because Steve Bannon's not a grifter. He's an ideologue. Steve Bannon really genuinely is a Duganist, Evola, dark, occult Nazi motherfucker. That's what he is.
I do not disagree with that. But the important thing is he got indicted.
It is
facing
important.
Charges.
Yes, and he keeps.
Did you see that dude?
charges.
Did you see his perp walk today? He's got his hands behind him in handcuffs. I have not yet begun to fight. Bitch, you got handcuffs on. You ain't fighting shit. You're getting your butt kicked.
I mean, but he got back out, right?
Yeah, he did get back out.
I mean, that's the thing. Like that just works for him.
Yeah, he'll be on War Room tomorrow, spouting off.
Now he's gonna be like, "Oh, look at my fucking handcuffs! The deep state fucking handcuffed me to myself."
That guy.
Yes, indeed. Don't roll a joint right now. There's only two of us. I can see what you're doing.
About? What are you talking about?
I know all the tricks, man. I know what your facial expression looks like when you're rolling a joint. So don't try it with me. And my audience knows now too. So you're not getting away with that again.
Allow me to state unequivocally, for the record, that it is illegal to smoke marijuana in the state of Ohio. I'm a medical marijuana patient. What I smoke are Indian sherbitis, which are a mixture of herbs and a little bit of tobacco. I would never smoke a joint live on air. That's absolutely.
Wait, you got cut off a little bit when you. What is it that you call it instead of a joint?
It's a beady. It's a beady. It's
a beady. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like some kind of street shit, right?
No, it's an herbal cigarette.
Is that like slang? What's that?
No, it's an herbal cigarette. It's Indian in origination.
Okay.
And that is
beady, like BIDI, like that kind of beady.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So,
well, in the meantime, we do have a fucking show, right? And there's only me and you. So if you want me to just go on an extended TED Talk, I would be glad to fucking do that.
No, because I'm not done laughing about Steve Bannon yet. Okay. No, I'm probably good.
Good job. But did you notice that while Bill wasn't there because it was in New York, as I saw on my appearance on the Tony Michaels podcast, there was a lady who took the fuck over for Bill. If you guys don't know, Bill is the guy with the white sign that stands behind every fascist and tells them exactly what they are. Bill is one of the genuine heroes and I mean this sincerely. Like over the last 5 years, Bill has created more headlines that describe themselves than anyone, right? Because he's up there like giant traitor behind Mike Flynn or whatever he has to say. And it's awesome. And we need more people like Bill. And apparently he grew another person in New York who did exactly the same thing, except she was not fucking around at all.
She was great.
She was she was great, and she just what did she keep repeating? It was
Stop
like this,
hurting America, you greasy grifter.
stop hurting America, you greasy grifter.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
What?
It's not exactly the case because he is a Nazi in addition to being a greasy fucking grifter.
I am
but
still,
but that might have been a little hyperbolic for her purposes. I cannot quarrel with the execution, and I for me this American judge gives it a 10.
I am still. I mean, if we talked about the history of Steve Bannon and all the awful, horrid things
Do
he's
we
done.
have to? I don't want to.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
if we're going
not.
to do that,
But here's what I
if
will
we're going
say.
to do that, though, start with the biosphere.
Well, the biosphere was weird. I mean, we know what that was.
Yeah, it was a lot more than weird. It was propaganda.
Well, there
It was
were
fucking
sexual
propaganda.
assaults and
There's all kinds of shit. It was the usual of a well-meaning thing by a bunch of fuckers who wanted to use it for their own purposes and destroy any meaning that it actually had.
I also think
it was his first effort.
I think it was them prepping for their doomsday scenario as well, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean they're getting into the whole sort of conspiracy grift in general, right?
Yeah,
like the fucking biodome isn't working. That wasn't gonna work, guys. Sorry.
Didn't Pauly Shore make that movie?
It seems like it. I mean, I don't know if anybody actually saw it, but it was pretty sad. Like they were throwing shit at each other in the biosphere and like starving and then angry, and then it was like raining in there at one point. Like, how the fuck did that happen? And it was because there was so much moisture because they didn't have ventilation, which seems like you might want to have for fucking dome.
Well,
I guess there was like condensation on it, and it was just like.
Allow me to point out something. You would not be able to have external ventilation in a scenario where the air outside the very sphere itself was poisonous. I mean, you could, but you'd have to have like massive number of scrubbers and air cleaners and things like that. Well, but if the
were
air
they on
outside,
Neptune or something? What are you talking about?
Mars, bud. Not only Mars.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that this was Elon Musk's early Mars testing?
I don't know. I mean,
I think Elon Musk
weird, dude. I don't know.
I think Elon Musk was about 15. Could have happened. I don't know.
Well,
I think when
so then he did the biosphere. All right, and then what did he do after that? Remember the mining, right? The e-mining.
Yes, he did the e-mining.
Well, explain that a little bit to our listeners.
So Steve Bannon got involved with Chinese investors to farm gold in World of Warcraft. And in the process of trying to figure out how to make money from all of these people who were like dying in internet cafes from playing for 48 hours, they started to perfect some of the trolling and kind of social attack techniques that they took from the Chans and weaponized in a real-time space. And so a lot of that shit with like all the raids and all the the kind of warfare that went on had to do with people who were literally manipulating currency markets and shit by like, you get out of our fucking Temple of Doom or whatever the fuck it is, we're so that we can mine. And it wasn't just about the Temple of Doom. It was about we're mining fucking gold, which they could then sell on a secondary market for money. So
what did Steve Bannon mean
he
about
grifted
CCP and
yeah.
NME? Oh, Bannon's been trying to push this off on China for a long time. Sorry, Blue Eyes had something in the chat. All right, so he did the gold mining.
I mean, let's be clear about that. That's important because Steve Bannon has been anti-CCP for a long time because he has been studying from the teat, pardon my image, of Miles Guo, who is a Falun Gong billionaire and a propagandist, and 1,000% allied with Vladimir Putin, as is Falun Gong in general. So if you see the Epoch Times, right, it's a very special sort of propaganda. It's not exactly pro-Russia, pro-Putin. It's more anti-China, right? That's because the Falun Gong is, basically a cult that is there to attack the Chinese government and is supported by Russia. And they have lots of very weird fucking events where they have dancing and angel costumes and shit or whatever. Aren't
those the ones behind the
it's not feng shui. Yeah, it's not feng shui.
It's or Sheng Wei. It's the Chinese cultural whatchamacallit that travels the United States with the acrobats and the dances and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's yeah, it's like weird Cirque du Soleil with a lot of yeah.
It's a cultural exchange. A lot worse emphasis music on cult.
Yes. Oh, you crack yourself up.
I do.
But the Epoch Times is that whole thing. You dork. The Epoch Times is hi-fi. Good Lord, dude, we're doing a show right now, bro. This is a show. There are people watching you.
Thank you, my mask.
You know that, right? That there are people watching you?
Nah.
A lot of them. So many.
Not
anymore. Not anymore. Yeah. They're like, why am I tuning into these motherfuckers just hacking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry about that.
I mean, I
have some of the others. But you know what you mentioned that I think we need to dig just a little bit deeper into was a newspaper called the Epoch Times. And what I know
That's
about
not a fucking news. That is not a newspaper.
Well,
it used to be. No. Let's be very clear. The Epoch Times is one of the largest propaganda operations on planet Earth. If you go to half of YouTube's ads still are Epoch Times. I don't know, maybe they curbed it at some point, but they blanket everything in their fucking bullshit, and all it is QAnon. It's just fucking QAnon, pro-Russia, like anti-democratic psyops. That's all it is.
Data point concerning the Epoch Times. Data point I know concerning the Epoch Times is that they received $900,000 from a person associated with Renaissance Technologies, which is Robert Mercer. So there's 900 grand somehow flowing from Robert Mercer through people, whatever, something.
Oh man, you know how much money comes from those guys to fucking so Epoch Times also it's a network like Natural News is. I wrote about that recently as well, which is this massive sprawling thing. So there is a ton of people on Twitter and stuff that don't know are just Epoch Times ops, but they are. They have these different kind of it's called trigger warning podcast. I don't fucking know. But it says nothing about the Epoch Times. It says nothing about China, nothing like that. But it pulls you into this sort of intellectual dark web nonsense, it drags you right into this Epoch Times nonsense.
Okay,
And,
we're rabbit holing. We're rabbit holing. Let's go back to our original, Steve Bannon. So
I don't
Steve
want
Bannon,
to.
Well, he was doing World
I
of
like
Warcraft
rabbit holes.
mining.
Shut up.
But here's the thing about games. Games are played by gamers. And what do we know the word gamer showed up? Go on. You know this one.
I know really well. Gamergate, which all Gamergate was the systematic. They figured out how to systematically radicalize people with misogyny. I'm gonna make you turn your fucking video off too, man. You just
I'm coughing hard tonight.
You are.
I don't know why. I know why. It's because I don't have my jar. I forgot my jar. I was running late.
Do I want to know about your jar?
Yeah, I forgot
Do
my
I
jar.
want to know about your jar? What?
Well, eat my jar. I always drink out of my jar, and everybody asks what it is. It's one of three things. My jar. No, I was watching Search for Q with you, and I was running late, and I didn't set up my jar. And but damn, Search for Q is good. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
It is good.
Back to Steve Bannon and Gamergate. So what happened with Gamergate and Milo and
so that's easy. So Gamergate was on 8chan. You know, Fred Brennan was running it on 8chan, and was doing great, and it was spreading out to YouTube all over the place, spreading out to Reddit. YouTube, by the way, as we saw on the YouTube effect. In that film, there's a whole lot about how Gamergate was weaponized on YouTube, as well as 8chan and the rest. But what really got it going was when Milo, who was the technology reporter at Breitbart, said, "Ooh, games are technology. So I'm going to report on all of this targeted harassment, except I'm not going to report on the targeted harassment being harassment. I'm going to report on the target. And I'm going to report on how awesome it is that these SJWs are getting harassed, because don't they deserve it, right?" That was Breitbart's entire attitude. And they had a fucking massive reach. And it was extremely, especially at the time, I think people sometimes forget how influential it was. And it blew the whole thing into a completely different realm, because suddenly now there are real numbers, paying attention to what the fuck this troll said about this innocent person who had no idea why they're getting dragged into this nightmare.
Did I answer your question? Really liked, yes. One thing I really liked about the YouTube effect is they had Brianna Wu on, and I've been
so great. Oh, you're here. You made it. I hope you didn't hurry.
But
I know you were nervous that you
on the show. I think
it'd
be important to talk to her. I've had
Brianna's
people
awesome.
come at me.
I mean, that's some brave shit to stick your neck. What she did was, and let's be clear what she did. Like, she wasn't there. She wasn't the original target. She spoke up about it and then became a target. And that's fucking brave, man. That's hard to do. It's hard to know that you're putting yourself into a buzzsaw. I don't think maybe she knew exactly how much of a buzzsaw it was, but brave person still speaking out, still putting up with a bunch of absolute horror.
Bullshit. And that's the thing I wanted to bring up is a lot of people have come at me about, why are you so awful about Fred? He's hurt so many people. And I don't think people understand just how much evil that man has done.
I don't want to get,
fair enough. But
that's it.
Heidi,
end of attention.
Fair enough. Heidi, do you think you could maybe ask Alex if Brianna would come on the show? I'd really like to talk to her.
I think we follow each other, so I will ask. I thought she was amazing. I think she's so courageous, willing to run for public office, willing to have these conversations, willing to be blunt and open about them. I would love to have Carrie Goldberg too, the lawyer who goes after people who cause online harms. What a badass she was.
Me too.
She was so cool, and she was like being a badass in like super awesome like stiletto boots, and it's like I know I'm a girl, so I appreciate that stuff, but yeah, Alex is a real one, man. I am very grateful to know him, very grateful that he's doing the work that he's doing, and I can't wait to see what happens with that documentary when it gets proper distribution.
Heidi,
Hi, yes.
you didn't get a chance to laugh with us about Steve Bannon's perp walk yet. Would you like to laugh about that right now?
Well, so I
I'm
would.
always willing to laugh about it.
So yeah, if I repeat anything, you guys let me know. But of course, hello everybody, hello my friends. This is like an hour of therapy that I really need every week. Seeing you guys, hearing from our supporters.
We just ruined everything, Heidi. It's all over. I'm afraid. Like, I don't think we're gonna be able to recover from 15 minutes without the only adult in the room.
Hold on a second. Hi-Fi, you promised me at 6:58 that you were going to behave, you were going to be jovial, you weren't going to swing low, you would watch the F-bombs.
I was being good, and actually what we were doing is we were going over the history of Steve Bannon and some of the bullshit he's been involved in that led us to where we are now.
So
we were doing Steve Bannon trivia to mock his perp walk.
Did you guys see the anagrams that our viewer and patron sent us? I emailed it to you. Probably didn't, but I'm going to read some of them because put it this way, Shauner would be very, very proud. But
you're just jumping right into the anagrams. Hold on now. You got to tease this shit.
Not even teasing. Just boom.
You're like here's the anagrams.
To the anagrams. Well, because
I thought you were like the TV lady. Aren't you the TV lady? I thought you were. We're teasing. We're teasing an upcoming segment.
I'm not sure how to interpretate that.
What do you mean? You've been on TV more than any of us.
Okay. So
that's all I mean.
We're gonna talk about some cool stuff. No, I just really wanted to use the word interpretate. I wrote a book with Tupac's bodyguard, and he had his own language, the dearly departed Big Frank Alexander. And interpretate was one of my favorite words he used to say. I don't exactly know how to interpretate that. And I'm like, you know what? I love that word, and I love you, man. So I like to use it in a jovial sense. What I wanted to say about Bannon.
Language is it's so fluid. It constantly evolves and changes.
Yeah, it's true. And the kids are all right, man, because they're trying to clean up some of this stuff too. I think I told you my daughter gave me like an earshot because she told me I used an ableist slur, and I'm like, I didn't use any ableist slur. And she's like, not an ableist slur, Mom, an ableist slur. And I'm like, okay. I had a screenwriter. I have a screenwriting partner who thinks that political correctness is a dilution of the language. I also think there's room for evolution, and my kids are evolving me at all times. So thank you, children. Now back to that rotting meat, fresh fruit for rotting vegetables. Let's talk about Bannon.
Did anybody see Tony's version of Steve Bannon?
Oh gosh, I'm sure
it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm sure it was incredible. It was moldy spam. He had a block of fucking spam with a really significant growth on it and eyeballs, and that was it. Just that, and that was Steve Bannon, and that was
that sounds to me like pure
absolutely
genius.
Perfect.
Was
Yes.
Gabe on the show? He's hilarious. I love Gabe.
Yeah, he
They're
came
fucking
on.
great.
Yeah, he's
they're
really
both
great. So super
Yeah.
funny. Tony's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna pull up something because, as you know, I'm the girl who reads indictments, right? I like footnotes. I like annotations. You know, my idea of a good time on a Friday night is catching up on the week's indictments. So when Steve Bannon and his cohorts was originally, indicted over the fraud with Build the Wall, I've read the indictment and I'm trying to pull it up right now because what I learned was that he ain't no mastermind. This guy is bad at criming. He might be good at talking, he might be good at, launching companies that where he spends, Robert Mercer's money at all to damn democracy. But he left himself wide open. I mean, he literally, it was so obvious that they were, clearly exploiting Trump's base to profit, and there was no question of it. And of course, he got pardoned. But as I'm sure you guys informed our viewers, but wait, there was more.
The
Yeah.
difference in federal between state, the difference between federal and state charges, massive. And okay,
Yeah.
look, these people are sociopathic narcissists. They are playing balls to the wall. They're trying to take over the whole world. Like this is no holds barred. They're trying to steal every dollar they can and trying to build their little fiefdoms for when the world falls apart.
Right. Right. Yeah. So back in the day when that happened, go ahead.
Go ahead. Nope,
I was going
you
to
go.
say when I read, it's once again the middle of the night. I'm reading the justice to the indictment, and I wrote not so bright Bart. I'm on page 12 of Parasite Bannon's indictment, and it turns out he's really shitty at criming. That was 2 years ago. And I just remember, I remember reading the entire thing. It's 24 pages and just going like, wow, like, oh my God, they just didn't care. And perhaps, because he has some very dangerous men that he's friends with, perhaps they're very emboldened and they think that they can just keep doing this. But yeah.
Well, I mean, you remember that time back when I had a fucking Twitter account when Steve Bannon got fucking rolled up for contempt of Congress.
Yeah.
Remember that fucking shit?
Yeah.
That was like a year ago.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is he free?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with our system? I'm sorry, but he literally said "fuck you" to Congress in public.
Right.
And then bragged about it on his fucking show, and he should have been grabbed out of his fucking podcast and pulled into the jail in goddamn Congress. He could sit in there. They have one. Put him in there for a fucking long time until he turns into his picture. Because fuck this shit. Like, I'm tired of these people just exploiting the entire system. Yeah. And Donald Trump is the fucking expert at this. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And he finds fucking judges like this dipshit who's like, judges. Oh yeah, now we're gonna give you more than what you want. We're gonna the special master is gonna need a microscope, and we're gonna need every 3 months. We're gonna give you an update about how things are going. I mean, it's just fucking out of control batshit. And we're gonna need to figure out a way to start taking these threats seriously and not putting people who are anti-democratic through the same rule system that normal people go through. And I don't mean by that anything illegal. But the rule of law is the only thing that matters when you are dealing with criminals. Right. When you're dealing with normal human beings, citizens who have not done anything wrong, yes, you can have all kinds of norms and customs, and that's fucking great. But when they're committing crimes in public, you have to protect us. That is your job. So you need to use everything in your power within the rule of law, and that is it, to protect us. And you are not. And now I have suddenly started talking to Merrick Garland or whoever.
Yeah,
but
that was
I think you understand my TED Talk.
Yes.
Well,
that was directed to Merrick Garland. File the damn indictment already. We're tired of waiting. How much more do you need?
Well, so I just wanted to point out that part of what makes us a democracy is that innocent till proven guilty, right? So everybody's entitled to lawyers, and these guys happen to have some, mobby lawyers, and they're continually trying to work the court system to their advantage. But as you know, Bannon has tried to delay, his contempt, trial, and honestly, a year is actually pretty fast when we look at how long it's taken to see some action, some perp walks, some indictments.
It's contempt of Congress. It's not complicated. It's not a fucking RICO case. It's not. They're not. This is not the goddamn Sicilian mafia. It's not a goddamn. The motherfucker said in public, "Fuck you, Congress."
Yeah.
That's there. It's literally contempt of Congress in public. They said, "Here's your subpoena," and he said, "Fuck you, I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit what any of the traditions and norms are.
I know. Jim.
There's nothing in the rule of law that says you can't go pick up that motherfucker right now for breaking the law.
Right. Well, I do know that it just from where I'm, where I've been watching.
I'm just getting
no.
bent out of shape with these motherfuckers.
What I've been watching.
You're breaking in and out with me. I don't know why that is.
That's you, bud. She's fine.
What I have been watching for all these last 6 years in particular, for me, even though we're so frustrated, and honestly, our friend Perna, who listens to Bannon's podcast every day and understands how dire it is, how much propaganda is tested on his show, how some of these guys, as Jim noted, moves off their low rent benches and gets, tested on his show before they make it into prime time. We know how dangerous it is for this man to have a microphone. But I will say, just a couple days ago, a judge denied Bannon's request for a new trial after the contempt. So that they're stress testing our laws and our Constitution and all of that. And right now they are losing. And again, maybe not as fast as we would like them to, but I would like to segue to another loser, because I think this story is very, very vitally important. The gangster capital of Russia, St. Petersburg, which gave us Vladimir Putin. The gangsters who run St. Petersburg are trying to they want him tried for treason. And why this is a big deal, that St. Petersburg officials want Putin tried for treason, is because they all signed their names on a letter. And we're talking about multiple municipal lawmakers in St. Petersburg calling on Russian State Duma to charge Putin with treason. And the reason that they want that is because of what they believe is his special military operation. They are looking at the terrible suffering of the economy, and they think that everything that he's done constitutes high treason. And it's a big deal.
Those guys better check their fucking windows, is all I'm saying.
That's where I was going with this.
Jesus Christ.
I would like
that is some ballsy shit.
I would like to differ. And the reason St. Petersburg matters is because St. Petersburg is the Bratva, right? I mean, all of them, the Zola, the Solesnyaska, whatever.
Yeah.
Once you lose the mob in Russia, you're fucking done.
Well, I think that's what the problem is. And that's why I asked you guys yesterday.
It might have something to do with Daria as well. I'm just saying.
Well, the reason I believe that we have every indication of Putin losing that veneer of control that he has. And when you have guys like this, no joke, using language that really gets their point across, like powerful language, um, saying that his demilitarization of Ukraine, backfired spectacularly. And I'm sure that's not the exact Russian translation, but they basically condemn what they call his historical fantasies and demanding that the bloodshed is stopped. And so, why I asked you the other day, how concerned do I need to be at Dave Troy's reporting on a big event? It's because I don't think that Putin has a lot left. Yes, he can try to siphon off, petro from neighboring countries, but um, you know, he is getting in the public eye on the global stage. He is getting his ass handed to him, and now his own people are, publicly decrying him. So, what else?
100%, and that's why the stuff that Dave talks about is so important. It's also 100% backed up by what I see on Telegram all day long, which is a very, very drastic increase in, well, frankly, mass death scenarios. They're trying to prepare a lot of these people for whatever the mass death is going to be. I did a piece on ultra nuclear MAGA Q, which is this crazy fucking account that uses flares as the kind of brainwashing event. It spends a shitload of time like paying attention to kind of these scientific eruptions of solar flares, and boom, this is going to be the one, and that kind of stuff, right in between like Britney Spears for some reason. But it's also literally posts stuff from the Russian Ministry of Defense. It doesn't hide it, and it's got 208,000 fucking subscribers. It's not like some tiny little thing, and it's got a whole bunch of sister and brother propaganda sites that are Russian as well, and all of them are really, really pushing, the events, some version of the apocalypse, whether it's through solar flares or through civil war or through World War III or fucking Diana is now the goddamn Queen of England, by the way, in case you didn't know. That's what the Russian propaganda channels want you to think. I don't know why Diana has to be queen now, but she is. So that's what's going on out there. Is there's a very, very serious, winding up. Now, there's good news to some extent, which is that the overall sort of like volume feels kind of lower, right?
I was going to ask you about that.
Like they're shifting their numbers around, right? And the accounts like this are getting more and more followers. But accounts like Flynn, some of the other kind of QAnon, well-known QAnon figures have either been even or losing some. It seems like there is some of the fever on the like outskirts of the cult is breaking a little bit, but what that's doing is compressing the people who are still in it into an even more radicalized state.
Well,
can I ask a question? If Diana is now queen, and Canada recognizes the UK queen, wouldn't that put Diana and Roma Didulo directly at odds, though? Are they going to have to like fight it out for queen?
Oh my God. So
it's these weird conundrums in their philosophy. I just don't get it. It's just
You're not
such
supposed
bizarre
to.
thinking.
When we ask binary questions, we don't.
I mean, Didulo is a whole thing. They're
Yeah.
like Dave
Yeah.
and Kanon are doing some crazy work on that. I'm not
Yes. So
gonna
I
even
would like
try,
to
but
suggest.
no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
No,
Nusara,
go read Dave's articles. Is what I'm saying.
Yes, but there's more shit, especially with
Yeah.
Ramona. Like
Read
she's
Dave
also like
Troy.
she's also full on I am, by the way.
Yeah.
Like
right.
she's a
Okay, now
she's
really those fuckers again?
Yeah. So
full on I am. She's like, I am the queen of, it's like everything's I am this, I am that. The children of light will, join me in Canada for the great awakening.
Okay,
So-
this is where I need to point something out. And you were asking Heidi about why Steve Bannon is such a bad crimer.
yeah.
Because they are visualizing only that they are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
They are not taking into account other facets
Mhm.
of the game they're
Mhm.
playing, in which
Mhm.
they might get caught, they might
Mhm.
lose.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
Yeah.
thinking about that. And that's
I
the
think-
problem with these extremists. They don't get
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. Well, it's also the inflated ego, which we talk about a lot. It's also the fact that all their friends are extra billionaires. And so they feel very insulated from the great unwashed, like the Justice Department. But I would like to very much, and of course, I mean that facetiously. I don't know if you guys talked about this, but I'm going through some of the very important headlines in my mind from today. And I love the fact that our Justice Department has asked, they're appealing the special master ruling in the Trump Mar-a-Lago probe. And I love that because when Jim talks about, let's get this done, we can't go by norms, they're just like, they're right now trying to overturn that judge's ruling, blocking the investigation because they don't got time for this shit. They're like Sweet Brown. Ain't nobody got time for this shit. So the Justice Department is fighting that ruling. And I think that's very, very important. They didn't just say, oh, it's okay. No, they are literally asking the judge to lift that order. So I think that's worth noting.
We will see. I mean, they sought her out. They've been seeking her out for a long time. And, it's jackpot. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Trump planted 350 of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And how many
Mitch
of them
McConnell.
Every single one of them was Federalist Society approved.
Mitch McConnell.
Leonard Leo.
And not experienced.
No, I mean, this is all Federalist Society, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And if they're approved by the Federalist Society, they do not follow the Constitution. They follow whatever the Christo-fascist cult they're in is. Wow. In the case of what's her face, it's the people of praise.
As we just learned, people can be removed from public office.
So these are literal cult members, and there's 350 of them in the goddamn judiciary, and this is again why, like, forgetting about 2016 is something we can't do.
Right.
Because all of it is fucking illegitimate. All those fucking people should not be there.
Right.
There should not have been a Russian puppet in the goddamn White House.
No, there should not.
Speaking of illegitimate bullshit going on, I saw this drop today, and I wanted to share this with our audience. 2020 donors. Yeah, buddy.
Can you zoom in on that? What does that say? Documented what?
Hold on, give me a second here. I'll pull it up for you.
Documented obtains list of Baja.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a spicy list. That's gonna be
and what's the number one? CNP action, right? And
of course,
yeah.
I bet you America's Future's on there somewhere.
And look what that big first name is.
Oh yes, Leonard.
Leonard. Yeah. Floyd G. Brown.
Bill Barr is just Leonard Leo, by the way. Like, he's the same exact fucking dude. Like, he's a Opus Dei fucking op.
The amount of whitewashing that mainstream media is doing of Bill Barr makes me sick.
It's fucking killing me too, man. It's
Oh.
like, stop quoting this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Every single thing he says is self-serving and is already going to happen. The fact that Bill Barr said it is fucking meaningless. All it is him whitewashing himself.
Yeah.
And you are allowing him to do it. That motherfucker allowed all of this shit to happen. We fucking Mueller had stuff and then he didn't because Bill Barr fucking lied about it to the entire public, and then the goddamn press went along with it like they are now. Stop it.
Yeah.
What else did Bill fucking Barr do? Bill Barr let Mike fucking Flynn out of jail, out of his fucking cooperation agreement because of Sidney Powell. Because Sidney Powell made some magical argument to the Justice Department that got fucking Mike Flynn out of 2 guilty pleas. So fuck you and your whitewashing of Bill fucking Barr. Fuck you. Thank you for coming to my second TED Talk.
I would like to add something to your second TED Talk. Did it not just come out today that Bill Barr, Trump weaponized the Department of Justice against people he did not like? And Bill Barr was quintessential to that effort to put pressure on people who did not necessarily agree with the action from a legal standpoint.
The whole thing, the whole time he was there was just, I mean, same with Sessions, for fuck's sake. Sessions, like, you know,
his name was
Sessions also gets a little whitewashed. That dude is a little Nazi.
I get triggered when you bring up these old names. Like, guys, seriously.
He was a Nazi Keebler elf.
Oh, stop.
Yes.
Okay, so before
also BFFs with Ezra Cohen Watner.
Oh, really? Ezra,
which is like,
if you're listening,
here's a piece of trivia about Q. Q loved him some Jeff Sessions. Loved him. Like, nobody loves Jeff Sessions. No, I'm talking about Q. Q trust Sessions. If, like, type it into the search. It's like trust. Like, who fucking says that?
Nobody.
Who says that?
Nobody.
Mike Flynn and
nobody trusts the Keebler elves, even if the
So-
cookies are delicious.
Okay, you're right about that. So I want to talk
Keebler
about
with a Q.
I want to talk about the
elf.
Flynn brothers. I want to talk about the Flynn brothers. Before we talk about the Flynn brothers, though, I want to do a couple palate cleansers with a couple of anagrams. Before I do the palate cleansers with the anagrams, I want to make sure you guys talked about the grand jury convening over Trump's PAC. You know, the Steal America's Money from Rube's PAC. They just, convened a grand jury on that. So I want to make sure that was mentioned, right? Want to know what happened to that cash?
You mean the build a wall?
No, this isn't. This is breaking news today. There was additional.
I've been.
Oh yeah. The Department of Justice is opening an investigation into Trump's Save America PAC.
And why it matters is because Marty has
that's
said,
who Bobsky joined.
That's
who Bobsky joined.
He's been saying that the January 6th committee, when it reconvenes, we're going to be following the money. Looks like the Department of Justice has the same idea. It's always about the money. So now let's get on to a couple of anagrams. Okay, you guys ready?
I don't want to skip over. Hold on. I'm just saying Bobsky joined through the Save America PAC. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's important. Put a pin in it. You'll see.
What's the other?
Now let's do some anagrams.
What's the other attorney?
I've deleted enough.
Alina.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Alina H. What I like about her is you can always tell. Like every time her hair gets shorter, you can tell that
where are we going with this?
Where are we going with this? You promised none of that tonight. Thank you, Jim. All right.
Random shit. Anyway.
Troll, stand down for just a moment. Troll, stand down. Okay. So, Alexander Dugin. That's our anagram. Alexander Dugin.
Oh, boy.
This comes from one of our brainiest supporters. Okay. Led USA darkening. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Ouch.
Wow.
Ouch.
Wow. Wow.
Ouch. Okay, next.
Damn.
I
That
want,
one.
I was,
That one.
That was dark.
That one
Tell
that
me
was
I'm
so
dark.
dark.
No, that was dark. All
All
right.
right.
I mean, but it's important. Dugin did in 2015. He started reaching out to Nazis. He started reaching out to American neo-Nazis. If I have some videos and shit on my Substack where I go over some of these, and he's speaking directly to white nationalists. And what he's doing is he's intentionally raising identity politics, which is the center of fourth generation warfare, which is what Mike Flynn is doing to the country. Thank you for coming to my that was more like a real TED Talk.
all right. Well, there's
That was a
so
good one.
many.
That was the best one so far.
There was so many good choices
Really?
here. There are so many good choices here. But I think I'm going to go with Ron Watkins.
Beheaded fuckboy.
Sneaky twat.
Ron Watkins, anagrams out to, is known rat.
It's
Really?
perfect.
You know?
Is known rat. Ooh, maybe that means ultimately he'll roll because he was bitching about not having money and he was going to talk about Q.
Well, we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to do
Or
one
will
more
he
before we talk about the brothers
disappear into
Flynn.
the Arizona desert.
Oh, stop it. Okay.
Oh.
Political violence. Political violence.
Oh.
Anagrams out to collective oil pain. Yeah. Yeah.
One more time. I got to go through that.
That's solid.
Political violence, collective oil pain. Wow. That's like Dave Troy
that's some deep shit.
That's some deep Dave Troy level shit, right?
Yeah.
So what
I mean,
more?
so just to unpack that for the viewers, in case they
Yeah.
are quite aware what this comes from, right?
Yeah.
The oil and gas industry is pushing apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Is pushing war and all of that stuff because it makes their oil more valuable, right? They don't want climate change to be fixed. They which is why they align with these Christo-fascists.
The unionists, yeah.
And the Christo-fascists are the one who largely raise up in the form of spiritual warfare to do political violence. So that is the connection between the oil and gas industry and political violence. Thank you for coming to.
I love it. And I love our conversations about things. I want to do one more, and then I want to switch to the Flynn Bros. MAGA Republicans. Republicans.
This is the one that gets us
schlubby neckbeards.
Close.
Sorry.
A public man's rage. Wow. Damn.
That's pretty good.
I like schlubby neckbeards better.
I do too. That works as well. Okay, so gentlemen, I think it's very important that we note that even people in my world, and I'm in the trenches of political warfare every day, and anybody who's doing it across America, blessings to you, because it does not matter what kind of race it is, it's all pain. It's hard. People in this heightened time are warring against each other as opposed to coming together. Now, some people are coming together and doing the best for their communities, but it's like to do that requires a lot of freaking work in the trenches of politics. And So I just wanted to say that. But even the people who are trying to stay away from the national narratives and the global narratives because they're just too afraid, it's just too overwhelming, even they are getting the memo on Mike Flynn, thanks to friends of this show and friends of Jim who are doing an incredible job in their series. And Mike Flynn is being exposed as being a traitor. Like, even people that I know that want nothing to do with, like, talking about national level politics, are like, oh my God, I watched this show on HBO and Mike Flynn is a traitor. And I was like, oh my God.
Not HBO. Not
I'm
HBO.
sorry. What Vice,
TV.
right.
No, the one they watched on HBO.
They're watching Marley's show. I don't have a television, so I forget the network. And yes, they're watching
No, it's
Marley's
all
show.
good.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I think
But
the one
there's also just announced another documentary coming out called Mike Flynn's Holy War.
Yeah, I saw that Frontline. Yeah.
which looks bananas. And like, so they did a video. They showed a clip from his interview, and they asked him about Charles Flynn, and he lost his fucking mind.
Bro was
I know you did. I'm just saying it for the people.
Yeah.
And it was fucking amazing. And so that should be coming out soon. And by the way, if somebody, I'm not going to say any names, but somebody said, oh, it looks like they're looking into Mike Flynn's grifting. And I was like, it's called Mike Flynn's Holy War. They asked him about Charles Flynn, the fucking commanding general of the United States Army Pacific, dipshit. They're not asking him about T-shirts. What's wrong with you? Nobody believes you anymore. Shut up. Sorry.
That's okay. Two things.
That was like 3 TED Talks.
That was no. What that was 2 years of being under siege, is what that was.
And I didn't say any names, but that motherfucker needs to stop.
Well, I don't know that that person can, because I think it's
they're all going to stop when the money runs out. When the money men get put behind bars,
or they get some door knocks. They have a chance to tell their story.
That may it will.
Will the propagandist
go on? You go on now.
So I'd like to, okay, because I have 2 things to say.
Please do.
Hit it.
I have 2.5. I have 2.5. I have 2.5. I saw that clip that you're speaking about, and for the first time, I realized just how much it's not just Roger Stone scripting responses and creating the narratives. It's also very much Mike Flynn, because in that clip, he is both Rudy Giuliani and he is Donald Trump. And you can actually see him morph into these people when he talks about, you're so fake and I'm never coming on your show. That was like vintage Trump. That was like Trump 2016.
And who's in the background? Who's in the background?
Roger Stone's madam.
PR person, Krista Davis, the fucking New York madam.
Yeah.
So yes, Heidi.
Can I give into my troll for a second?
Indeed.
Can I give into my troll?
There's just no. Don't break any rules. Don't break any.
Rules. Out of Mike.
You know what the rules are.
Out of Mike Flynn and the Manhattan Madam, I just want to know who's the bigger hoe.
Oh, stop. We don't care. We don't care what people do. That's not our. Okay, that wasn't so bad.
Are we doing FMK on?
That wasn't so bad. So I do have something that I think the reason why he reacted so badly isn't simply because that's his brother, but I think it's very freaking important to note that Charles Flynn was just called a big liar about January 6th, and I think that it was very, very important to note that big fat frickin' article in Politico today Absolute liars. Ex-DC Guard official says generals lied to Congress about January 6th. And right there in the, front and center, they are referring to Charles Flynn. And
Yeah, he's
essentially,
that's been out for a while.
well,
That quote that's the head of the DC National Guard, if I'm not mistaken, is the one who said that
ex-DC
quote.
Guard. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that dude was not fucking having it with Senator, not Senator, Secretary McCarthy, Secretary of the Army, who got Charles Flynn to be his deputy 2 weeks before the insurrection, and
Right.
both of them
Right.
fucking set up the goddamn video call that delayed the National Guard.
Why this story is making the rounds again and why it's important is I do believe the spotlight being on Mike Flynn is now being shifted over Charles Flynn, which brings me to the third Flynn, who I hope is getting help for what seems to be a personality crisis. I do. I want everyone to be well, because then they would cause the world less pain. He went on a massive tweet delete. And why that is interesting is our very dear friend who I absolutely love so much, Brent Allpress. He did note that he did not delete his likes. And so Brent immediately started sharing some of Joe Flynn's very, primo narratives. And here is one with Joe talking to, whatever propagandists, and talking about, Phyllis Schlafly, Collegians 2021, all those really fun CNP folks, Knights of Malta folks, those folks that you talk about, talking about his great brother and his hope for America. And, Phyllis Schlafly.
Yeah, Phyllis Schlafly was a Dame of Malta. She died
Mhm.
in 2016.
Mhm.
Donald Trump went to her fucking funeral, and she had a big giant flag of Malta on her casket, and there's a picture of Donald Trump leaning over it. And that is not a coincidence that Donald Trump went to see Phyllis fucking Schlafly, one of the founders of the CMP, who was a Dame of Malta. All these motherfuckers are, have been on the same team for quite some time.
And they're so bad that even the Pope decided to rewrite the Constitution because of
hell yes. The Pope
fucking
yeah, we talked about that on the show. The Pope was like, you guys are what he was like, hold on a sec. He took out his clipboard. He was like, now tell me again, what is it that you do over here? Oh, the Crusades? Didn't we start that 1,000 years ago? Is that what you're okay? Let me take some erasing, whatever fucking popes used to erase with. It said, fuck your Constitution and fuck your people. Now, it's not that simple. They're still there. There's still, all those same people still out there. Eric Prince is still a Knight of Malta. It still is Austin Ruse, the guy who fucking trolled me for 3 months on Twitter, who was a Knight of Malta. But that guy, man.
So
they are some crusty LARPers, dude. They
really are. There's some crusty.
Yeah. So
Austin doesn't give a shit. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Heidi.
No. Two more stories before we sign off, because it's already, the hour is up, and I just want to catch our viewers up on things that I think are vital for them to know about.
If you were running behind, we can extend a little bit.
That's very cool of you guys, and I do apologize.
You don't have to apologize. Like we had, that was our front loaded, man. That was a hi-fi at Jim.
I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to watch it.
Our difference was we were getting loaded in front, but anyway.
That's so good.
Hi-Fi spent about 10 of the 15 minutes coughing. Mostly. First I caught him rolling a joint. I was
You're
like,
like a
dude,
bee.
man, it's just me and you. Like, you can't be focusing on that right now. Anyway, sorry, I digress. You're still trying to get your stories out. And
That's all
I'm
right.
gonna shut up.
I love you guys. It's part of the charm. We get so excited because this is actually Rad Pod and Chill is it's like you're with us at the bar. We're hanging out. We're all like having a good time, talking over each other like an Italian household or something. However, we still like to impart very important information. And a story broke in The Guardian that is very important about an ex-staffer who worked with Navalny's team tells of being an FSB informer. And his point is there were hundreds of us and we were all over the world. So when you wonder about, is the person on my team, working for the team or are they an FSB informer? Don't be surprised when you find out that they actually do work for the Russians. And this guy talked about how much he hated these people. He hated the assholes that were expecting him to be debriefed by him. He withheld. He actually tried to protect people he liked. And I think we can actually apply some of that to some of the paid subversion operatives because, again, in my unscientific experiment, some of them are trying to cry for help and they can't be overt because they could be smoked, but I'm just saying, like, these people are everywhere. They're embedded all over the place, all over the world. And some of them literally hate what they're doing so much that they actually try to do the double bluff. And that is my second to the last story. I've got one more for you, unless you guys want to comment on that.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of fucking, people that no, seriously, a lot of people who take money from Russians. Now, there are more people who take money from people who take money from the Russians, right? Of course. And there are even more people who take money from them.
Which is why it gets very confusing.
And the people way down at the, down the chain a little bit, they had no fucking idea. Right.
It doesn't matter. Point something out here because this is very important. I need to address like the source of this river. The head of the snake is over. We say that we understand that Putin brought the criminal underworld and the government into collusion in Russia. I mean, they work together, right? I mean, they have their own infighting and whatnot, but basically it's the same unit. One of the things they have to do because they are a criminal organization is they have to launder their money into the West, into Europe, into the United States.
Yeah, it's been one of our safety valves, actually. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we know the Dakotas are this massive money sink, right? Yeah. Christine Noem and all that. Panama Papers came out. More and more and more of this information is coming out.
Well, I think that Trump's repetition on Russia, hoax, witch hunt was very effective. It was excellent propaganda. Lying is the message, and it messes with people's heads. And then, of course, you had Bill Barr, as we talked about earlier, being very dismissive. It's pretty damn obvious to anybody who's paying even a slight bit of attention now that we have a lot of treason and traitors going on right now. And somewhere, as I wrote the other day, in the bowels of Trumplandia, there's a fiber lawyer trying to spin espionage into patriotism. That is straight out of Catch-22, where they drop bombs on their own people and call it patriotism. I would like to think that we're smarter. And the last thing I want to say is that I coined a new name for Elon Musk today. I'm calling him Arthur Ponzarelli. And the reason being is the $258 billion racketeering lawsuit filed in a Manhattan federal court accused Elon Musk and the entities he owns of running a pyramid scheme. And why that's important, and why it's very, very important that this is continuing. And we talk a lot about market manipulation and the pyramid scheme of Silicon Valley, is that this has been a house of cards, and there's been a lot of institutions propping them up, but it's coming apart. And shows like ours and shows like Tony's and the work that Alex Winter is doing with his YouTube documentary and Jim's documentary and Marley's work, all of it collectively is adding up to scrappy people like us chipping away at these, at these bastards. And I'm proud of us, and I'm feeling hopeful.
Things are looking good, man.
Well,
We're getting better.
We're fighting. Let's not, please don't do that. That's just like, it's halftime and we're up by 14 points and we're like, yay, we're winning.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Don't get out there and fight, team fight.
Don't fucking do that.
Some of the bad guys are getting hit, and that's important.
Yes, but there's also a lot of this fucking bullshit continuing to hurt people.
Yeah.
And none of this is going to stop until that stops. And the way that's going to stop is we have to get rid of the fucking people doing it. Like Flynn. Arrest Mike Flynn. And we have to get rid of the big fucking distributors of poison. That's it.
You're right,
do those things, and our fucking country will. It'll be like Twitter the day after they got rid of QAnon. I swear to God. You remember that? It was like, wait, what the hell is this place? I could say things and I'm not. Whoa, this is weird. It will be like that, but over the whole country. I swear to God. Because it's exact same thing. It will reduce the amount of poison, reduce the amount of radicalization.
Yes, we're on the same team, bro. I'm just saying that.
I know. I just gonna
the days that I've gripped in fear versus the days where I feel like, hey, some of this is having an impact. I'm feeling that some of this is having an impact. When people who are not a part of this world start telling me that Mike Flynn's a traitor because they're seeing it on a network show, that's meaningful. And the other thing that was very meaningful. And I'm going to cry. Seeing a decent president and another decent president get together last night and remind America what leadership looks like, I think was very important.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, it was a little normie for me. You know, I wish. It wasn't quite so, not to be punny, but I wish they were a little bit more honest about how serious shit is right now. I get that they needed to do the normal president thing, and that's good, you know, but I also don't want to pretend like we got anything in the bag here, and I want both the Obamas to get out there and start fucking talking,
putting the smack down, telling it like it is, letting people know what the fuck is up in this country, because not enough people are listening hard enough. I think it is, the message is getting through slowly.
Well, we're dancing as fast as we can. And last word I want to say is I just want to send a lot of love to my friends in the UK. That's it.